This morning, while batch recording content, I wanted to take some time to reflect on my year of 2022. So I wanted to shoot this year in review video, walking you through every single month of 2022, highlighting what went well, what didn't go so well, and both from a professional and personal life. So let's get straight into it. My name is Justin, and I'm the founder at Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So first things first, January honestly was a fairly good month because we had a lot of performance fees from clients from the Boxing Day period that kicked in during January. So I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty good month. I think to this day, it was still the highest profit margin month that we've ever had since starting the business. So it started off pretty good. And believe it or not, January 2022, we only had one full-time Wizo Media employee, which actually I'm going with him on a trip right now to finally meet him in person. He's been working with us for about a year and a half. So again, at the time of seeing this video on your end, I'm probably already on that trip with this team member. You're probably gonna see some content also coming up on that. I'd like to say he was our first full-time hire. It's not exactly true. We had one prior to that, but that didn't last very long. Actually wasn't very good. So we had to replace that person with Emmanuel, who is still currently working with us right now, is one of our performance managers. So January started off pretty slow, but pretty good overall business-wise. If I go more on the personal side, to be quite honest, January is usually somewhat of a hard month because if you know what the climate is in Canada, like it's very dark, it's very cold, it's very snowy, there's not a lot to do, you're stuck inside. So not gonna lie, all I was doing is pretty much working for the entire month, which led to a great month of growth in February. So February 2022, we actually expanded and hired 2 other full-time team members. So now I had 3 team members that were actually full-time part of the team. So another performance manager and a VA at the time that we hired for some back-end tasks. This also prompted a surge in new clients. So February and March, we actually got, I think in total, 5 new client accounts within those 2 months. End of March, actually left to Miami with my good friend Michael, which there's a video about that on the channel where we kind of did a vlog over there. So we went there to take some time to honestly relax, but also talk business. I was potentially going to meet with a prospect over there that's also choked last minute. So that was kind of a bummer. But anyways, we enjoyed the trip nonetheless, and we made the most out of it. Now that trip was very eye-opening because it was the first time since I started the business that I let the business on its own. I did not bring my laptop at all. I had no computer. Slack was completely turned off on my phone. For 5 days, I was completely out of the loop. I did not know anything that was going on within the business, and that was purposely done. I wanted to stress test the agency and see if things would break. And it's not about if, it's about what. I knew things would break. It was the first time I let the team on its own for an extended period of time, and I knew things were gonna break, and it was about not if, but what would I need to fix when I came back. So when I came back, I actually had a lot more things to fix than I thought. There was a lot of things that broke, nothing crazy, right? We still had some pretty good results for most clients, but it was a lot of internal processes, chains of commands, approvals that I was not able to give. So team members kind of delivered things that I thought were maybe not up to standard. So I spent most of April fixing stuff within the agency. So it was a big fixing month, and we had a couple of clients leaving. I don't think they left because of that period of time where I was gone. I think they left because we were under very bad contracts. Let me get into that. For the first time ever in the journey of the agency, I had introduced a guarantee in February of 2022, but it was a very, very aggressive guarantee. And the fact is, we were getting these clients pretty good results, but it was still not up to par with the guarantee. So we actually guaranteed a very big increase on the current ad results. So I have 2 specific cases in mind. So one of them was with a underwear brand that we had at the time. They were currently getting 2.3x ROAS. We guaranteed 3. We were achieving 2.8, and we were actually competing with the current agency that they had. So we were outperforming the current agency, but we had 2 things again going against us. First, we had a guarantee that was higher than what we were currently delivering, so we had to refund the client. And second of all is we had a separate ad account than the other agency, and that other agency had been working on an ad account that was active for years. So we had kind of no data, and it was slower to start. But once it picked up, again, we did better. It's just that it was just still not as good as the contract wanted it to be. Therefore, again, the client was profitable margin-wise. If we did calculations, they made a lot of money, but it's just because we were in a bad contract. Client did not want to change the contract because obviously I completely messed up, set wrong expectations. So that was one of these examples during that time. So we actually did that with 2 or 3 brands, which I went very aggressive with the guarantee. Nonetheless, we got good results, but we did not hit that guarantee. So I had to refund the clients, and it was I knew that going forward, it was almost impossible for us to hit that guarantee in the next couple of months. So I basically just had to chat with all 3 of these brands and then had to let them go. So we took a big hit financially wise during that time period, as had to let go of the clients and we were not getting paid also for a certain period of time, as again had to refund some of them. So lost 3 or so brands during that time period, and then again spent the whole month fixing service delivery. And in early May we had 1 other brand leaving, and keep in mind at that time I think we had only like 8 clients or so, so it was like half of the client pool wiped just like that. So literally I was under quite a lot of stress mentally early May, because I had been spending this last month working solely on service delivery, on improving the quality service that we did to the clients, and then had a couple clients leaving. So then we were basically cutting the client pool by half starting May. And then I was like, okay, I need to focus on growth. So May comes along. Again, April was a pretty packed month, as you could see by all these events. So May comes along and I'm like, all right, I need to figure out acquisition. So far, we haven't done too bad. So in the last few months prior to that, so what I mean by acquisition is how many calls can we get booked, how many qualified calls are there, and then how many clients can we actually welcome at the agency based on the client capacity. So at the time, I think our client capacity was right around the same mark as it is right now, which is right around the 14 client mark. And we were at like, again, 5, potentially like 4 or 5. So it was still, again, needed a lot of a big push, if that makes sense, during that time period. So went pretty hard with acquisition, started booking, I think it was 25 calls in May, but then it really paid off in June. The month after, we booked over 40 calls in June. It was the first ever time we booked that many calls at the agency. Welcomed a lot of new clients during that month. We actually, well, I'm saying a lot, I think we welcomed 3 during June. And then all of our efforts that we did in May and June paid off throughout all of the summer. So if I go back to 2021, a mistake that I made is that I was going hard at acquisition for Q1, which led us to closing a lot of clients end of Q1. And that's usually what I'm seeing, is the fact that when we go hard and do a big marketing push as an agency, it pays off about 90 days later. So basically, when we started doing that push, end of Q1 2021, so basically March, April, got a lot of new clients. And then I kind of dialed back because, again, had some new clients, and then I wanted to be able to deliver the service and do pretty good. And we were just getting started with the agency in 2021. So I did not do any outbound or any form of inbound marketing for that period of time. So came the slow months of summer, July and August. We actually had barely nothing going on for us. Like, it was very, very slow months in 2021. Whereas now this year is crazy. July and August were some of the best months that not some of the best months, they were the best months we've ever had at the agency. And I was very surprised. I thought we were gonna have slower months because also I traveled twice. So let me backtrack for a second back to June. So back in June, I met up with one of my good friends, Serge, that you've seen on my channel. We did a podcast together last summer, right around July. And I also went to Spain with Serge last summer. We've known each other for almost a year at that point. We were good friends, but never really worked together. He had a program for helping agency owners with client acquisition that I was basically the ideal client, but again, he was already a friend. And what I said in that podcast, which I'll reiterate today, is what first got me started in the marketing space is I had one of my best friends got started in that space and kind of mentored me up the way and showed me the way initially. So I already knew that I worked well with that model of working with a friend and kind of trusting these people as I already have a close relationship with them. So that's what I did with Serge back then. So basically paved the way in terms of client acquisition, helped us out with that. So again, July, I think closed another 2 to 3 clients. Same thing in August. Also now, and during that time frame, I think we hired like another dozen team members. Not all of them stayed, right? Because we had a lot of team members on trial, but we kept about half of them. So at that point, the team was, I think it was about 11 or 12 people besides myself. We did very, very good during these months. So the agency was actually very close to hitting the 7-figure run rate. We haven't hit it yet, but very, very close is what I'm gonna say during that time. Also went for a full week to Spain for the first time in July. So I actually traveled for the first time to Europe with my girlfriend. Amazing trip for a week. Then less than a month later, actually traveled again to Spain, but that time with Serge, other business owners and friends. Stayed there for again another week. Was great. Team was booming. Everything was good. And then September came around. So in September, a lot of the stuff, whenever you grow, and I've heard that from another agency owner I'm following on LinkedIn, that basically you always follow cycles. And then whenever you scale, there's always a debt that you have to pay afterwards. That's a debt in terms of potentially team members, you've hired too many. It's also a debt in terms of service delivery, potentially the quality went down. But there's some sort of debt you have to pay after scaling, and debt was due. So September came around, I realized that some team members were not needed. Others also were not performing that good. So I really cleaned the team, and we pretty much cut half of the team during that time frame. Not because financially wise we weren't doing good, just because there was a lot of people sitting there on the team for nothing. Like some people, the A performers were doing better than 2 or 3 of our other team members combined together. So cut a lot of team members on the growth and acquisition side of things during that time frame. Welcomed, I think, 1 or 2 new brands in September. And at that point, we were at our highest ever point of clients at the agency. We had 18 clients during that time period. Now, rolling into October, personal side, I took a weekend off with, again, my girlfriend for her birthday. We went to Quebec City. It was great. Had a vlog up on the channel for that. Team-wise, we were getting everything ready for our clients for Q4. Now, earlier in the year, we introduced, and I did not mention that as of right now, but we introduced 2 new services, or actually 3. We introduced email marketing, we introduced UGC, and creative editing at the agency. So creative editing was the first one that we introduced in April 2022. UGC was the second one that we introduced in July of 2022. And finally, the last one that we introduced was email marketing, which that was right around the August mark of 2022. And I'm saying officially it was in August. Technically, we had an email client since November of 2021, but it was one of our media buyers that was handling the account. It was like very basic text-based email. So I wouldn't really count that as doing email marketing. Although, again, we got pretty good results even with just text-based marketing for that client, but I'm not gonna get too much into that. Now, I slowly realized that we were not able to keep up quality on all of these services. Our primary service, who's always been paid ads, was doing great. Emails wasn't doing as great, and I knew that I had to put a lot of effort into making it good if I wanted to make it good. So I made the decision right around the October to November month to actually kill that service. So I had a chat with all of the clients that were on it, which wasn't that much. It was about 4 out of the entire client pool. So it was less than 20% of the client pool, or right around 20% of the client pool at that point that was on that. And they were not just for emails. They were already on ads with us, and then we basically cross-sold emails. They went on it, but again, I knew that service quality was not necessarily there, so we just decided to kill that service and focus entirely on ads. With that said, creative editing, we had gotten it down. We were doing very, very good at creative editing, and that was good. UGC though, we delivered, in my opinion, fairly good UGC, but the main problem was delivery times. We were still delivering UGC at too long of a time. It was about 6 weeks on average, which honestly was way too long. So I had to really look into the business and figure out how we could deliver UGC at a much faster pace. So rolling into November, very big month. Q4, obviously, I mean, Q4 technically starts in October, but in my mind, it really is November, December. There's not much for most clients going on in October, but all of our clients had a promotion going on during the months of November. So very, very crazy times, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of ad campaigns, a lot of promotions. Obviously, I was working like crazy during that time period. So again, very fun nonetheless, because it feels like, you know, when you're in elementary school and then you know the holidays are approaching and then you've got these fun activity days. I kind of feel like that nowadays with, you know, the Black Friday time. Like it's a very fun day. It's packed. There's a lot of stuff going on. Stress levels though are quite high, which is, I'd say, the only difference that when you were a kid and now. But nonetheless, fun times. Had a good month of November. And now early December had to take some very hard decisions. One of our performance managers was not performing good at all and had not been for a very long time. I made the mistake in 2022 more than once to keep team members on the team that had not been performing for too long. And I also did the mistakes. So my main 2 mistakes I feel that I made in 2022 and I want to learn from going into 2023 are the following. So the first one is I've kept people on the team that were either not needed or that were not performing good. So I had too many team members at some point, and in other cases I had team members on it that were not good. And I did not do the proper, you know, feedback loop with them and try and really help stuff. Or in the cases that I did, I still kept them on for too long. I get attached a lot to people within the team. I really treat this business like a bit of a baby of mine, and sometimes it shoots me back, you know, I shoot myself in the foot by doing that. So one lesson is don't keep people on for too long if they're not performing. Is just basically have an acquisition method to get team members on the same way you acquire clients, so that you're able to easily replace team members if needed. So that was one of my main lessons learned that year. And again, I'm saying I'm really talking more to myself here and talking about my lessons with the agency. So that's kind of almost like a journal entry of my journey over this last year. So second big mistake that I made is that I tried to step away too quick from the business. So some areas of the business, primarily service delivery, I tried to step out a couple of times. Actually, 3 times this year I tried to step away, but in all 3 times I was too quick at doing so. So I did not have the proper infrastructure in place for it not to break if I stepped away. So I was still needed within it, and I obviously wanted, like everything business owner, to as much as possible remove yourself from day-to-day operations, but I did it too quick. And now I think I know what to delegate. I know also what to keep an eye and pace on. And the main thing was the feedback part. I was not even giving feedback to people and not even reviewing what some of the team members were doing, which again, small issues become little bigger issues, and bigger issues, basically they just amass together and become this huge problem. So it all starts with these little things that are not getting done on a day-to-day basis, and keeping a tighter feedback loop with the team helped me take control over these small issues that stemmed in 2022. So yeah, December 2022, last month of the year, had a couple clients with Boxing Day promotions. Also welcomed 2 new team members. As I said, we replaced one of our performance manager with a new one. So far, again, doing good. Looking forward to see where that's gonna lead us in the future. So we welcome a new creative specialist to help with client designs and videos. And again, just kind of help ease up the process. So 2 new team members during that time frame, and I spent literally all of December working on service delivery for 2023. So I did lots and lots of changes within that. Lots of them are actually starting to appear if you look at the website. It's changed. All of our offer has been refined. We've changed internal processes for clients. Right now, we're migrating some data tracking platforms. We've added some new platforms. There's some amazing stuff for our clients in December 2022, which I'm excited to start rolling out right now. Actually, at the time of recording this video, we've already rolled out about half of these changes. The rest are coming up through the rest of January and early February. So going back, I think my top 3 mistakes and my top 3 wins of 2022 would be the following. So mistakes, I've already named 2. I would say the third one is being afraid, which I'll count that as a win afterwards. But I was so afraid many times during the year, money-wise. Something I discovered for me is that I have my default setting is scarcity mindset. Like, default setting is as soon as we start making a little bit more money, I was trying to hold on to it and not spend more of it to make more, right? Not trying to hire more team members, not try and buy better softwares. Like, I was just trying to hold on to it. And that caused us at many different points in the agency to actually lose money, right? Trying to hold on to money causes you to lose money. That was like a big mistake of mine that I did more than once during the year. Now, big wins of the year is I finally hired a lot more team members. And I think that was something great. I learned a lot what it means to actually manage a team during 2022. Because believe it or not, before that, actually, we were working with a couple contractors and we had only 1 full-time employee. So I can't really say I was familiar with leading a team. And again, at some point this year, I had a 12-people team under my supervision. So leading 12 people to a common goal is a very different objective and task than leading 1 or 2, 3 people to a specific goal, right? So very, very different and a big challenge. So hire more people and learn to lead more people also, and how to actually build a team and build a business that is not solely reliant on me. And again, getting key players in certain roles at the agency. So that was one of my main wins of the year. The second big win, I'd say, is I finally treated myself to some nice things. It's a thing that I haven't done in the first 1.5 to almost 2 years of the business. So initially, again, as I mentioned earlier, I was scared of spending that money. So I was just saving up and piling up on that money, which looking back at it, I don't regret it at all. I think I needed to have security. I needed to see more money coming in, and I needed to feel that I had some form of control over my life, right? Because when you first start a business, like, you feel powerless. There's just so many things going in different directions. Stress is hitting you from so many different points that, like, you don't necessarily feel in control. So I think I needed to feel some form of financial control in my life before I really committed to some bigger expenses. So 2021, I'd say the big expense was just moving out, is just actually moving out and finding an apartment and going on my own, which I did earlier in 2021. 2022 is getting my car. So bought a Tesla Model 3. So I actually bought the car, which that was big accomplishment for me. I'm saying but, I want to be fully transparent. I financed the car, so I did not lease it, but financed it. Nonetheless, bought that car, will be paying it off for a couple of months, couple of years to come. But again, was very happy of doing that move. It's a car I've always wanted. Also got myself a pretty nice watch earlier in the year, so I'm really happy also with that purchase. I don't think I'm gonna be getting that many crazy watches, but I just wanted to have one mainly nice watch, which is what I did this year. So all the little things, and I'm saying little things, they might not be that little, but like the car, the watch, the apartment, I got pretty much everything I wanted. So I put myself in a life situation where I think I can thrive and in a very good environment from both an internal and external perspective now. So that's pretty much it. And had a conversation with a very close friend of mine. We were talking about what it meant initially to find security in materialistic stuff. And I think what you hear a lot online about advice of don't find, what people tell you a lot is don't find security in materialistic stuff. But I think it's initially you will need to find security in materialistic stuff. And from building that security with materialistic stuff, then you'll start to internalize that security for yourself. So again, it's like, how can you feel secure if you've never gotten security in the first place, I guess is what I mean by that. Which is why you'll see a lot of people, once they go in transformation internally, they'll buy new clothes. Again, they might change their environment. People will usually buy new things to fit their new persona, or at least the new lifeline that they're going into. So again, I absolutely don't regret these purchases. And on the opposite, you can ask, anyways, if somebody asks my girlfriend, she literally can attest to that. Every single time we drive in my car together, I look at her, I smile, I'm like, I'm so fucking happy to have gotten that car. Like, I love that car. I'm a very big car guy. I love cars. And every time I drive my Tesla, I smile. Like, I feel so happy. Like, it just fills me with happiness, and I feel grateful for everything in my life. So again, absolutely don't regret that purchase. And the third win I'd say I've had in this last year is I traveled a lot more. I mean, a lot more. I don't know if it's a lot. Some people might be listening to this and traveling a lot more than that. I traveled 3 times. In my basically whole existence, I only traveled at max once a year. It was usually not that far also. So I traveled for the first time to Europe, actually twice, more than once. And I traveled 3 times basically, quote unquote, alone, which I had never really done in the past. So very, very nice year from a personal development standpoint, from a business standpoint too. A lot of growth I feel on both ends, personally, professionally, in my relationship, in pretty much any areas of my life. I feel like there's a lot of growth that happened in 2022. So I'm now actually taking 2, almost 3 weeks away. Again, going on the trip, big trip right now to plan 2023, to really take some time to reflect and internalize everything that I went through in 2022, because it's a lot. Like, it's crazy sometimes. When I stop and look at it, I'm like, damn, like so much happened in 2022. So many things grew out of proportion to heights I've never imagined, honestly, that would have grown that fast. I think I really need to take some time to internalize that and then figure out where I'm going next. I've never did that long of a trip. So also very excited to be in different environments to reflect. I think it's gonna help me think about new things, as if I just would have taken the same time in my current environment, I would have probably just thought about the same patterns, and now being somewhere different, I hope, at least that's my hypothesis, I hope it's gonna allow me to think about new goals, new heights, and set a new direction for the year. So it was a much longer video than usual, and also a much more personal video than usual, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed. If you're listening to this, you're an e-commerce brand owner or a marketer wanting to be a part of a community of, again, other thriving e-commerce brand owners, then click the link in the description down below, join a free Facebook group. You're gonna be one of the first to know about these upcoming e-commerce marketing tips, videos, and you also have access to exclusive trainings on that Facebook group. Now, also, if you're listening to this video and you are an e-commerce brand owner making at least $50,000 a month with your brand, also check out the description below and book in a very short demo call with our team. Fill out the pre-call questionnaire, watch the pre-call video, and I'll be more than happy to introduce you to our services and see if you're a good fit to one of our e-commerce marketing programs. On that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.